August, more like August, Charlie Brown. Nah, I'm just messing with ya. There were some great movies released last month. Mainly movies on streaming, but still movies nonetheless. Plus, sometimes it's nice to take a break from theaters. I enjoy them occasionally, but by God can those places be cesspools. Anyway, the first movie I watched in August was one I've personally been waiting for a long time, and that being Netflix's release of Nickelodeon's Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. If you're at all familiar with Rise of the TMNT, you've probably already decided whether you love or hate this movie. And as someone who is able to appreciate the finer things in life, I can confidently say that this movie kicks ass. What this is essentially a TV movie that acts as sort of a send-off to this iteration of the Turtles. It's something the fans needed after the show itself was cut fairly short, lasting only 2 seasons. Everything we've come to associate with this version of the Turtles is still present. The humor, the sleek designs that a lot of people hate for some reason, and of course the stunning action sequences. The animation itself looks incredible here. There's times where it's odd to think that this is technically a TV movie because it goes so hard. There are not one, not two, but several fight scenes in this film that blew my mind. The final fight itself feels like one of those over-the-top boss battles that go on forever, and it's such a visual treat. This is also a film with a lot of heart, more than most episodes of the show have, which I feel is exactly what you need when making a movie. There are still a few things I wasn't as much a fan of, mainly with the portrayal of Casey Jones, who feels less like a character and more like someone who's only there to get the plot moving, but at least his design was cool. Like I said, if you've seen the show, you'll already know whether or not this is for you, but I personally had a ton of fun with it. I think it's easily one of the best Ninja Turtle movies, and I'll give it a thumbs up. The next movie I watched was the new Predator film released on Hulu titled Prey. It's pretty unfortunate that this wasn't released in theaters, considering it's easily the best Predator film since Predator 2. You heard me, Predator 2, that movie kicks ass. Prey brings things back to basics, asking the question, what if the Predator invaded another genre of film? In this movie, we follow an indigenous girl named Naru, who's a member of the Comanche tribe. And of course, her hunting skills are truly put to the test when a Yatsha falls out of the sky and starts hunting her. This movie is quite effective in its simplicity. It fully understands the appeal of the original film and never overcomplicates things. As someone who absolutely hated Shane Black's Predator movie from a few years back, this was a real breath of fresh air, proving that sometimes smaller is better. Although it should be noted that those VFX artists put their all into this film, and for the most part, killed it. It's a movie that feels small in scale, but is very Hollywood, if that makes any sense. There's a bit of a sequel tease towards the end, but I think it's safe to say that every single one of us would much rather see this trend of inserting the Predator into a very different genre or time period continue. Still, if a Prey 2 does happen with the same lead character, I wouldn't really be mad either. I don't think Prey is anything groundbreaking, but it doesn't really have to be. Simple but effective, I give it a thumbs up. The next movie I wanted to talk about was 3,000 Years of Longing, but when I went to see it, the theater projector was broken, so I guess I won't be reviewing that. Instead, I'll talk to you about a new movie released on Shudder called Resurrection, starring Rebecca Hall, who I'm starting to enjoy seeing in these sort of psychological thriller-type horror movies. She's just very good at portraying someone who's always on edge. Resurrection is very much a film about gaslighting and domestic abuse, but told in that somewhat abstract, borderline artsy way that a lot of horror films tend to tap into nowadays. I think a lot of you can already tell whether or not you'll enjoy the movie based on that description. I wouldn't call this film a fun time. In fact, it's a very frustrating experience. But that's also exactly what the film is going for, and I found it to be extremely well executed in that regard. It never feels like it's trying too hard to shock either. It's a nice balance of the surreal and real. Tim Roth is in this too, and he's delightfully unlikable. I don't have a ton to say on this one, but if you're someone who enjoys these lower budget, more abstract horror films, then there's a very good chance you'll like Resurrection. I'll give it a thumbs up. Also, not exactly a movie, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Netflix miniseries Lost Ollie, an incredibly beautiful show, and I feel one of the best things Netflix has ever produced. If you like your children's entertainment with a hint of depression, then this show is for you. So that does it for today's films. Now, if you don't mind, I have some Ninja Turtles videos to finish editing. I'll see you next month. Bye.